Today's story begins in a place where people didn't live with hope. They lived with fear. The Kubuqi Desert in China, a place once known as the Sea of Death. Because here, life didn't just struggle, it slowly disappeared. Every single year, hundreds of thousands of acres of fertile land were silently buried under sand. Green fields turned into lifeless desert right before people's eyes. Trees withered away. Water sources vanished. And people? They were forced to abandon their homes. All that remained was endless waves of sand, burning winds, and a haunting silence, the kind that tells you life is losing. But the most terrifying part? The desert wasn't standing still. It was alive. It was expanding. Every year, nearly 500,000 acres of land were swallowed by sand. Villages, roads, farmland, everything was slowly erased. This process has a name: desertification. In simple terms, where life once existed, a desert takes its place. And Kubuqi was one of the most extreme examples. At one point, it felt like this battle was impossible to win. China tried, again and again. They planted trees, launched massive projects, invested billions, but the desert kept advancing. It felt like humanity was losing. And then, one man stepped forward. When people first heard his idea, they laughed, because it sounded insane. His name was Wang Wenbiao. He began a mission that most believed was impossible. He poured in his life savings, took loans, and went to war against the desert. Over 100 bulldozers, 300 workers, 18 hours of work every single day. But he wasn't just planting trees. He was building a system. On the desert sand, they created small square grids using dry shrubs. These grids trapped the moving sand, and inside each square, they planted willow trees. Now, these weren't ordinary trees. Their roots reached deep underground, up to 300 feet, searching for water. Which means, even where life seems impossible, these trees create a chance. But there was another problem. The desert winds were brutal. They didn't just move sand, they stripped away moisture from the soil, killing plants before they could even survive. So, Wang adapted. He used shrubs as natural barriers to block the wind and trap moisture inside. This small idea became the beginning of something big. People still laughed. Crazy. Planting trees in a desert? But he didn't stop. Days turned into months, months into years. And slowly, some trees survived. Some roots reached deep enough, and for the first time, the sand began to slow down. The impossible was starting to become possible. But then, another challenge appeared. To keep these trees alive, they needed constant care. New branches had to be trimmed regularly. Otherwise, the trees wouldn't grow strong. But in a desert this massive, that task was nearly impossible. Too expensive, too time-consuming. So who would do it? And that's where the story takes an unexpected turn. The job humans couldn't handle was taken over by a small animal. Rabbits. But not just any rabbits. Rex rabbits. They're known as white gold because their fur is incredibly valuable. Raising one costs about $2, but it can sell for up to $30, a huge return. But the real magic? These rabbits love eating the soft, young branches of willow trees, which means they naturally trim the trees, helping them grow stronger and more stable. The work humans struggled to do, these rabbits did effortlessly. And that's not all. Their waste became powerful, natural fertilizer, bringing life back to the soil. And here's another surprise. They don't fully digest grass seeds. So those seeds return to the ground. And soon, Grass began to grow where there was once only sand. A new cycle was born. Nature and animals working together. Gradually, the sand slowed. The soil held moisture again. The winds lost their power. And within a few years, a dead desert began turning green. But the transformation didn't stop there. It changed people's lives too. Local communities were encouraged to raise rabbits. Every home became a small farm. Income started to grow, and people who once fled this land began to return. Life came back. And then Wang made another bold move. In the middle of the desert, he built a massive solar power plant, 196,000 panels arranged in the shape of a running horse. This plant generates 2.3 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity every year, enough to power around 400,000 people. But once again, there was a hidden benefit. These panels reduce wind speed by nearly 50%. They create shade underneath, and under that shade, grass begins to grow again. That grass feeds rabbits, sheep, ducks. A completely new ecosystem emerges, where technology and nature work together. Today, this model isn't limited to China. Countries across Spain, Africa, and the Middle East are adopting similar approaches. And the biggest lesson from this story: people will laugh at you. They'll call your ideas crazy. But history shows every great change was once laughed at. So now, the decision is yours. Will you stop because of fear? Or will you move forward and make the impossible possible?